All right, it says that we're live, and hopefully we are. Hi everyone, welcome back to MOONSHIRE Monday. Lots of different settings in this one, so bear with me while I figure things out. It says that the resolution of the stream's wrong. Hopefully things are fine. Wolf, hi, welcome in. Seeing a lot of folks chatting in the chat before stream started. I really do appreciate that. Seeing folks like Saba and Bellcat and Future34, Angry Berry, and Turtle Dev, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully, and again, as we're going along this this stream, please let me know if there's any issues or if there's problems with the overlay, because that's a really big thing that we're testing out. I've noticed that you can see the little window thing at the top here. You didn't used to see that, so maybe I can fix that too. But there's a few things that are different this stream. I have a different webcam, and it's recording in 4K, but the stream is not outputting in 4K. I have a lot of things I need to work on. But also I made a lot of updates to the overlay too, because last week we found some bugs with the overlay where it wasn't deleting messages, and some of the connections were weird, but I got it completely fixed, and I'm really happy with how it works now. I made it all in one, so the entire overlay runs completely in a standalone application like this, and you don't need to have the browser extension anymore. I'm really excited to share this with people. I think it's gonna be really helpful. But yeah, what I was talking about is the chat overlay above me. That's all custom made, and it's open source. I'm gonna be releasing it soon, so other people are able to use it too. I want to start my game dev journey. How do I start? Yeah, you can start anywhere. So there's lots of engines to choose from, like Game Maker or Unity or Godot, and I always recommend starting with a really easy game to start with. Something like Pong or Space Invaders are the ones I always talk about. Something very, very easy, something that you can actually get done. So that's what I always recommend to get started with. Hashtag Pong mentioned. Teach me pixelated drawing, bro. Well, I mean, so the way you learn pixel art is just by doing it all the time, and I'll be doing a little bit of that today. So actually what I was going to do is, last week we were working on the graveyard, which is probably what I'm going to do again this week. Between last week and this week, I didn't work on the game as much. I was just working on the overlay application, which I know I keep talking about, as well as the stream setup. There's a lot of things that are different. So the webcam is different too. And I can tell already that the settings are not quite right. Like, it looks very gray. Maybe you guys can agree. Does my webcam look dark? Because my room is well lit. It's a little bit odd. How do I get the music for the game? Well, the music that I made for my game is all custom. I made it myself. So what pixel art am I doing? I'm going to be working on some graveyard stuff. It's dark, yeah. And the funny thing is, like, I have big, giant key lights on me, but I think that the camera is not capturing the full saturation, or the settings are a little bit dark. So I can fix that later on. What software? I use FL Studio for all my music production. So this is the one we were working on, and I was showing off this headstone from last week, which this is a paid sprite that I have. And I think that today I'm going to be just adding more decorations, adding new versions of this headstone, and maybe some front-facing ones, maybe some crumbled ones, and then maybe like some skeletons and things like that. So just some very chill pixel art today. The main thing that I wanted to do today is testing out the overlay, because I made a lot of changes to it. Last week was the first trial run of all of the overlay code stuff, and this week we're just testing out the fixes that I have for it. But so far, like let me know if you guys think, does the chat overlay work well for you? Is there a delay? I think it looks like there's not much delay, if there is any. Maybe a few seconds. That's pretty good. So all of this, the chat overlay above my head, is all running locally. It's just reading chat as it comes in, and I made it just because I needed it. The other options available weren't super great. So back to the headstones. This is the art program I use. It's called Sprite. And test for delay. Hopefully it's not too big. I love the music. Yeah, I love the music too. I still have a lot of work to go on the music though. In fact, I've been making so much new music that's not in the game yet. Make small games like Pong, and did a Pong game and even watched a tutorial and learned the way to move body and AI that chased the ball. Any other small games? That's awesome. That's amazing that you managed to do all of that in just a week. Yeah, the second game, I always say the same exact thing every time. So let me pull it up. It's Atari Breakout. So if you go into Google and you search for Atari Breakout or Block Breaker, it looks like you can just play this in your browser. And this is always the game that I recommend doing second, because when I started with Love 2D, this is the game that I actually made first. So I skipped Pong and made this game. And I think that's a really, really good one. Because it's similar to Pong. It takes all the same, like, fundamentals that you worked on when you were making Pong. And it just expands on it into making, like, multiple levels. And there's, like, lots of different balls. And you have all these different settings and a UI. So I think that my recommendation is that if you were able to make Pong, that's awesome. I'd take it a step further and make something like this. Because a game like this really is enticing. And it gets you accustomed to a lot of the core functionality that exists in all games, which is things like the UI and collisions and keeping score and saving data and having a UI. Or I already said that, but you know, you get the point. And I love this version just because it's very creative. And nothing you see here, I think, is too complicated where it's like, oh, well, a beginner couldn't do that. I think that a beginner could pull all of this off. It would just take a long time, and it would be a learning process. Okay, I'm done playing. I'm done playing other people's games. I got my own game to play. What's the first game I ever made? The first game I ever made was in Game Maker. So in Game Maker, they have all of these built-in, like, free games that it comes with, and I used one of those and took all the assets from it and made my own game. Or actually, no, I took some of the assets, I took, like, the environments. So it was just a Game Maker project where you could, like, walk around and throw snowballs and stuff. Let me pull up the sprites for the graveyard that we're going to be working on. Try making yourself without a tutorial. I bet that it's likely that you'll run into problems, but that's where you'll learn the most, is like when you'll run into a problem, like you'll say, how do I make an upgrade? And then you'll think through all the different steps, and it might be overwhelming. It might be really, really challenging. But that's kind of the whole point, is that you're challenging yourself, and then overcoming those challenges is the way to actually learn. So in this folder here, I have all these different props that all kind of behave the same way, because these props you can hit and then they break apart. And I have other props as well, but I think I'm just gonna make a headstone 2, and we're gonna just edit it. Headstone 2. Is it worth buying a sprite? For me, it was worth buying a sprite, but there are free versions like Libra Sprite, and also a sprite is open source, so you could build it and compile it yourself if you don't want to pay for it. But when you pay for it, you get the updates as they come in, and it's really convenient. Plus, you're just supporting the developers, which I think is nice. So we have this headstone, and we're going to make just an alternate version. I think that this version is going to be the same thing, except I'm going to, like, crumble it away. Also, I'm going to make the background more bright so I can actually clearly see the contrast. There we go. This is spooky. Okay, and then we're gonna add the outline. That looks good except for this part. And I guess that it looks fine, except it looks like it has like devil horns. Let me move this down. That looks better. Let me see if I can come up with something different. It doesn't look super crumbled. It just looks short. It looks like it's broken. This looks like a broken headstone to me. I think that actually looks pretty good. I can probably add more, or like some wear and tear to it, like. What's the next color up? I might add another color here for texture. I think it's okay the way it is. I think I'm just gonna leave it like this for now. And then trim, and then headstone 2. So now we have 2 headstones. This is the same sort of idea, and then props. Okay, yeah, actually, it's going to behave exactly the same. I don't have to change any code at all. I do have to change one thing. I have to import the assets. Headstone. Okay, so I need to add headstone 2. And while I'm at it, I mean, I'm going to leave it open because I'm going to add a headstone 3. I missed your devlogs. It's been months. Yeah, I know it's been a long time. I think that the format of my devlog is going to be a little bit different going forward. Right now, I'm really focused on trying to get the stream set up proper. I got my 4K camera. I'm working on getting a recording set up so that I'm recording the streams live, and then also recording the full resolution VODs, which I'm not able to do currently. So there's a few steps I'm taking there, and once I'm able to get full quality recordings and plan things out a little bit better, the goal is that I would use portions of this stream to create devlogs out of. Because the problem with those devlogs is, I liked them too, but they were very time consuming. Also, I just noticed that the image for the headstone includes the red portion as well, so I need to delete that. That was dumb of me to leave that in there. Okay, that fixed it. So let's make sure that I can add a headstone 2. So there we have headstone 1, and I'm going to add headstone 2. I'm going to go ahead and export this. And since all the maps get cached, I have to restart the game. That's kind of inconvenient. I'm sorry to reconsider that. I didn't do it. Did I change it? It says headstone 2. Maybe it doesn't change this. Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't. We can say this. This is actually a really clever trick you can do. Here, I'm going to show this off because this is one thing that's very unique to Lua. And it's not often that I get to show off what this even is. So in Lua, everything is a table. I've talked about how everything is a table before. So this sprites thing is a table, and it contains a table called props, which contains a table, or actually it contains a sprite called headstone. But all of this is stored in these tables up here. Like, see, props the table, and I'm just putting in different sprites in it. But right now we have a problem, because I need to set the sprite to be the exact headstone. So right now it's being set to headstone, but also it needs to be able to work for headstone 2. And the way I can make that work is, instead of saying .headstone, because I can't say .headstone 2, because now it's always going to be headstone 2 rather than headstone 1 when it needs to be. So if we see that, it's probably going to be the wrong one. Well, it's the new one that I made. It's the one with the crumbled top. So if we want to account for both of them, we can't manually set this to headstone or headstone 2. Instead, it has to be conditional. So you could check and see. You could say something like if p.id is equal to headstone 2. And yeah, we could do something like this. Okay? This is perfectly fine. A condition where you're manually checking the condition and then assigning the right sprite. But even better is that the way tables work is that when you say .headstone, it's the same thing as saying indexed at headstone. So this line here is the exact same thing as saying .headstone. So the reason why this is important is because now I don't need to say specifically which sprite I want to use. I can say sprites.props and then pass p.id as the identifier. So since everything is, like when you use the dot property, it's doing the same thing as this. And then the string is what the dot property actually represents. So now it's going to use the correct headstone from sprites.props based on what ID it is, either headstone or headstone 2. If it's headstone 2, then it's going to be grabbing headstone 2 from here. And if it's headstone, then it's going to grab this one. So I'm pretty sure that if I start the game now and walk over to that spot, we'll see both versions of the headstone. And we do. We got the unbroken one and the broken one. It's one of the best engines for 2D games. What engines do I use when I made Moonshire? So I use Love 2D. I don't use Godot, but I heard Godot is really good as well. I think Godot is a great one. Small idea. So what if some skeletons jumped out of the gravestones? That's a cool idea. Yeah, like you hit them and then or even also it could be separate from that where it's just they're nearby. It could be like a proximity radius check where once you get close to it, then it'll pop out. I think that's a cool idea. So let's do another headstone, because they say variety is the spice of life. Any chance I'd make tutorials on Godot 4? Probably not, because I've never used Godot before. Where can I learn to make GUIs in Love2D? Yeah, I wish I had better advice for that, but I made all of my GUI stuff for Moonshire. It's all custom made. So I have a lot of UI stuff like this pause menu and the settings and the main menu and stuff. That's all custom made. I'm not using any library for that, so I have this file called new UI. It's so messy. I talk about this file all the time. I need to completely redo this file because my UI is so clunky and hard-coded and just not good. It's not good. I need to rework it. But GUIs are really tough to work in, at the moment at least. I personally find that making a UI for a game made in a game framework where it doesn't natively support GUIs is a little bit tricky. So back to... We're gonna work on Headstone 3. This one... Maybe this one can be like even more crumbled, or... Actually, let's not make it crumbled. Instead of making it crumbled, let's just make it into like a round headstone, because that one's like a house shape. So let's do some kind of like curve upward like this. That's alright. It's not great, though. See, this is the problem, is... my art skills really... Like, when I show stuff on my videos, that's all those sprites are things that, like, I collab with people on, or that I worked on for a long, long time, so... It becomes very painfully obvious that I'm not really that good at pixel art whenever I do it live. But I can at least get shapes in place and get an idea of what it is I'm wanting. What should I do in this section up here? Actually, I think that I'm going to get rid of this and move these things up. Maybe I'm just going to do this. No. I'm sorry, I'm being very indecisive. I love my art style, thank you. I wish it's not entirely all mine, though. It's a combination of lots of different art styles that, like... Because a lot of the things that I work on come from open source sprites or paid asset packs, and since I leverage those, I do adapt them to my own art style. But at the same time, my art style comes from those packs as well. It's like they influence me, and... I don't really know. I don't really like calling it my art style, even though the way I combine everything together, I guess it is pretty personal. At the same time, though, it's not something I invented, or even, like, a lot of the sprites that people compliment, I didn't even make a lot of those. Like, I edited all of the sprites. Every sprite in this game, like, every single one, I have had my hand in editing every single one. No exceptions. But a lot of the complicated shapes and shading and features and stuff, I get a lot of help with that. My pixel art is the worst pixel art in the universe? Well, for now, maybe that's true. If you really feel that way, there's one simple trick to fix it, and it's just to do pixel art all the time. Do it really, really frequently. And then you won't be the worst, because someone else will take that role from you. I think that this actually looks pretty good. I think that I need a bit more detail up at the top portion. It seems a little bit bland. Maybe I can change, or maybe I can add some of these. Does that improve things? No, that makes it worse. Roy BGB. Watching the stream on my first day of college. Awesome. Good luck with your game, and I cannot wait to play it when it releases. That's amazing. Thank you so much for the donation. That's so nice of you. Also, I appreciate you donating because that allowed me to test out, and I hope you guys heard it. It made a little sound effect when that person donated, and it has that highlighted message, made the text bigger. Looks like everything's working. I'm very, very happy about that. Because last stream, that was another thing, is there was someone who made a donation and then it didn't show up in the overlay, which is a problem, but it looks like everything works. Thank you again for the donation. And good luck with your first day of college. That's really exciting. If it's your first day, like you're a freshman, that's intimidating, but also very exciting. If it's just like your first day back, that's not very exciting, but I don't know, it can be. I still enjoy back to school time even in the later years of college. How much time do I spend on pixel art? I'd say if I had to do, I've never really thought about that. When I'm developing, I would say I spend half the time coding, maybe 20% of the time working on pixel art, because I get a lot of help with pixel art. And the remaining 30% is, we'll say 20% is level design, and then the remaining 10% is everything else, like writing and sound effects and music and anything else that gets, like, that goes as a part of development. Yeah, because it's definitely coding and actively working on creating things. That's by far the biggest time sink. Art comes second. But the reason art's not bigger is because I actually hire a lot of people to help me. So I think that this headstone looks pretty good. This part over here, like on the right side, I don't understand what's going on over here. I think I need to come up with a better method. Maybe you can like hug the side like that. Oh my gosh, I can't click on buttons. That looks better. That looks better. Maybe I can add another one down here. Is that a grave? Yeah, so I'm working on headstones. I have this headstone, which is like a pyramid shape. I have this one, which is crumbled away. And then now I made this one, which is a rounded headstone, which I think it fits in pretty nicely. We'll test it out real quick. So to test this, I need to add the asset. We're going to add sprites on headstone 3. Headstone 3. And then over here, we actually don't need to change anything. I just need to add the headstone to the map. So here we have headstone, we have headstone 2, and then we're gonna have headstone 3. And hopefully they look okay next to each other. You just graduated, it's a little intimidating, but I'm excited to get my master's. Aw, dang, that's very, very cool. I started my master's degree and then I dropped out. But I got my bachelor's. That's all I really need personally for my career. But yeah, good luck with your grad school work. Okay, looks like the headstones work. They look fine. Here, actually, I do see a problem. On the left side here, this shading on the left side is no good. The reason it looks like this is because the original headstone has this like pyramid shape overhanging this left side, so that's why it's even, yeah, it doesn't even look right on this one. So I need to tone this down. That might be too much. I think that's okay, but I'm gonna put one of these like that. And then I'm actually gonna copy this 1-to-1 because I like it. That looks better. That looks better. It's not nearly as strong on this left edge. It probably could be better still though. Yeah, it probably could be better still because if we're lighting this edge, what if I did like this? Oh, that actually looks nice. That looks better because then the lighting's consistent. Because that was the problem with this one, is that the light hits this edge, this top edge of the headstone, and then it casts a shadow on the lower part of the body. But these two don't have that, so it makes more sense to have just a lit edge. And I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And then like that. There we go. That actually looks pretty good. Am I excited for Silksong? Yes, I am. I am so excited for Silksong. It's gonna be awesome. I'm very, very excited. Okay, I think that these headstones look really good. One thing I want to do, because I need a lot of different ones. This is already a really good start, though. Does this look curved enough? Is there something else I could do with this edge to make it look more curved? I'm worried it looks too... Maybe if I did like this. I might be taking it too far. Yeah, that's no good. I think I have to leave it like this. I don't see any other way to do it. Without making it taller. I could make it taller. I don't think I want to make it taller, though. I think that looks fine the way it is. So I'm gonna trim this. Okay, the next thing I want to try is making a front-facing one, because this one's off to the left and to the right side. Thanks so much for your tutorials. They're the only reason I can make games. Well, that's awesome. I'm happy to help. Don't get a chance to watch these much, but will definitely be a game I look out for. Awesome. Thank you for saying that. Elias Indy, welcome in. See the new Lego Batman game at Gamescom? Yeah, there's a lot of cool games that came or that were shown there. I'm particularly excited for Silksong when that comes out in a couple weeks. Not even a couple weeks. That's so exciting. I can't believe it's happening. Finally. Will the next demo update cost money? No, it will not. The next demo update's going to be basically a relaunch of the current demo, but all of the big features that I want to include are going to be in there. So I'm going to make a new headstone. It could be headstone 4. I'm probably going to name these something different later. Because, you know, naming things headstone 1, 2, 3, 4, that's not very descriptive or helpful. Headstone 4. Okay, so this one's a little bit tougher, because what I'm going to try and do is do a perspective shift. So I'm going to give us a bigger canvas, 22 by 22. The way that... Because you can see that this one's facing to the right. I want it to face straight down. And that's not obvious how to do. It might even be easier to start from scratch, so I'm going to make the canvas size bigger yet. And I'm just going to start drawing my own new one. With similar proportions. I'll take out a sliver. Like this. I'm going to make it wider since the proportion's front-facing. Like that. And then... how do I make a mouse button on Love 2D? Do you mean like a button that you can click on? Because you do that by testing the proximity of the mouse. Because if you know the mouse's position and you know the button's position, you can check to see if they're close enough to cause overlap. I think that this is an okay start for now. But the main thing I'm doing here is trying to find the gravestone shape. So actually the hard part is I need to draw this up and around. See, like, already this is too curved. It's not going to work. Because it comes too much to a point. Does it? Actually, that looks okay. Maybe that does look okay. Maybe I'm just freaking out over nothing. No, yeah, it looked fine the way it did before. I think that I actually nailed it in one. Okay, so we got the headstone, and they are not exactly the same height, but I don't think they need to be. I think it's okay that they're not. I think instead it's going to go down. I'm sorry, I keep like... I noticed that like when I get into my flow state, I just start babbling and saying words that only make sense to me. My eyes glaze over. I say that a lot, because they definitely do. Whenever you get me on a tangent, like, whenever you get me talking about AI, I just, like, my eyes glaze over and I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I think that... let's try something like this. I'm gonna actually get rid of this strip over here. Maze Stardew Valley was made by one person. Yeah, that really does amaze me as well. It's definitely a big inspiration for me. He lived in Seattle for a while like I did. I don't know if he still lives there. He might. That looks okay. What if I did another, like, another gap? Okay, and then the other thing is that so should I have like a dark strip along the bottom? No, that looks horrible. See, now I need to make it blend into the ground, which in this case I have baked on shadows, which that'll help. The other thing I can't see the background either, so let's go new layer, background. I think it looks like a bullet. Yeah, it kind of does right now. I'll get it fixed over time. A lot of the way that you differentiate things, because a headstone basically is a bullet shape. Like, this looks like an enemy from Enter the Gungeon, but the way that you make it look like a headstone is just by detailing it. So... Oh yeah, I was gonna change the background color. That happens to me a lot where, like, I forget what I was doing. Let's make it not so obnoxious. That's pretty nope. I said not obnoxious. That's better. I kind of want it to be shorter. Actually, you know what the problem is? The problem is that it's too front-facing. It looks like it's laying flat. I need it to make it look more like it's standing up. Which I think I'm kind of doing that here. The way I can accomplish that better is if I make it more like this. And then... so that the top... if it looks more top-heavy, basically. And maybe I can make it look more top-heavy if I squish this down. Does that make it better? No, I don't think it does. The problem is, like, it really does have that bullet shape, and I'm wondering if I can make it better somehow. I don't think that makes it better. Yeah, that doesn't make it better. We'll just leave it like this for now. Hope I'm doing well, thank you. Hopefully you are as well. It's been a long time since I have watched this, but then the inventory tab is longer than the rest. Is that still the case? Let me see, I don't think so. So I've still been changing it around, but yeah, I now have it set up where every tab is the exact same size, and every tab also has like this 4x5 grid. So I'd say that it is very clean now compared to what it used to be. Let's get the shading back in place. I think that it'll help when I get this edge lightened up. Like that, and then we need definitely some dark colors. Oh, that looks okay. Oh, that makes it look like an Among Us. Here. Oh no. It looks really suspicious. No, I can't take that any further. We're dealing with dangerous materials here if we turn that into an Among Us. Yeah, this gravestone's a bit too suspicious for this stream. We need to fix that. And it looks like an Among Us because I added the this like little shade up here. It looks like a stone door. I guess a stone door is close to what I'm going for. A stone door is like, or I guess a gravestone is kind of like a stone door to the afterlife. If I did. That looks okay. It does still look like it looks like a big thumb. Now, okay, actually, I made it look like a big thumb. It looks like a knuckle. Like I drew someone's knuckle. Okay, I'm screwing this up really badly. First I drew an Among Us, and then I drew a thumb. That's deep. Yeah, I say deep things sometimes. I don't mean to. I like this music, very relaxing. I love Zelda music. I chose songs specifically that I thought would be chilled, nice, and relaxing. Okay, I'm gonna change this because it looks too much like a thumb. That still looks thumb-like. That's better. That looks less like a thumb. Perspective shifts are nightmare. Yeah, I'll say. That looks less like a thumb. He doesn't look too crumbly, though. No, it looks just messy now. What engine am I using? I use Love 2D, but this pixel art thing is just a sprite. Oh, that's alright. Let me try something like this. It's pretty good. It still looks too much like an Amogus to me. I think that the problem is this needs to look more indented, so I need to change this to a dark. And then I can change this outline over here to light. Maybe I can make it smaller on the inside. I'm gonna make this whole intersection smaller, although that's probably not gonna work well. I said I like chill music, but now it's playing like the spooky forest music. I guess that does look less thumb-like. But at what cost? Let's change this like icon design. I can make it The thing is, I need a shape that fits well into this curved thumb shape, so that's why I made it into a fingernail shape. But no one likes fingernails, so I don't think that we should do that. That does not look good. It doesn't look terrible. What if I did... No. I'll figure something out. What could it be? The thing is, like, I'm so cautious about putting this corner up against this white corner, just because... I don't know. I don't expect it to look good. I like fingernails. I like them when... You know what? Fingernails are alright. They get a thumbs up from me. That's a little goofy. That doesn't look good. I don't know. The thumb pattern might be it. Like, this does look good. Maybe I can make it look better. That looks okay, but what can I do? Maybe let's first make it a solid. It looks fine, but it does still look Amogus-y. That's too dark. It's too dark and saturated. Let's I can make a new color. It's not good enough. What if it was just nothing? So empty. How about instead of shading that corner, I can shade a different corner. That doesn't work. Or does it? No, that doesn't work. The thing is, I'm so fixated on it being an indent, but I don't know if I can make it that. An idea, make a big hand that crawls and walks in taxi and comes out from a grave. That's a cool idea. I could make it here. I could make the grave short like this. I think that this looks good. This doesn't really look like a thumb anymore. The only problem is that it's small. It's only 12 by 13. I would like it to be bigger. But it's not bad. Let's go ahead and just use this as a new headstone. And actually, I'm gonna do it over here. How long to get good at composing? I wouldn't say I'm even super good at it yet, but I've been playing music all my life. So like I played in band all through like elementary, middle, and high school, even in college. So I've been playing music my whole life. That gives you exposure to music, but then production is its own skill, right? Like just because you play trumpet in high school doesn't make you good at producing music. You have to still make a bunch of stuff, and the way that I kind of practice is making music for my games, because I've made lots of games before this that I've never released, and I made music for all of it, and it didn't sound very good because I was brand new to it. But these days I'm a little bit better and more competent because it's just been a while. So normally my answer to all those questions is just like I do it a lot. So what I'm going to do now is add some of this grass texture along the bottom so that it looks like it has some overgrowth. Maybe that's too much. Okay, how about... That's probably good enough, and I'm gonna drop the shadows on. I think that looks really good. I'm very, very happy with this. So this is headstone 4. I'm gonna just go ahead and delete layer. We're gonna sprite crop. How many angles ideal for creating perspective like this? Well, I wouldn't say that I'm creating an angle for every perspective. The thing is, though, that in this little map that I'm working on, the camera is fixed from this perspective. The camera's not gonna like zoom in, or you're not gonna see things from the side. But since it's all from this one like top overhead perspective, that means that like I would be nice if I could draw a few different perspectives from that one shot. So like ideally, yeah, it makes more sense for there to be like 100 different perspectives, and then you could have the camera move and circle around something. But that's not exactly what I'm doing here. It's more that I'm just drawing a few different perspectives, because really I only need one. As long as you have one perspective, that's all you need. But it's better to have more just for variety's sake. Okay, so headstone 4. And I should be able to add this directly into the map. He thinks it fits with the others. Yeah, I think so too. But we'll check. Yeah, I'd say it does. The only thing I think I could... Well, okay, it definitely does. I think maybe the shadow could be moved up by 1. Because it's short. This is a short headstone. The other ones are taller. So maybe I can make a version of this that's also taller. The headstone empire is expanding. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to make another version of this front-facing round one, but make it wider and bigger. Because this one looks like it's just much shorter than all the other ones. Which is fine, there can be short ones, but I think that it would be better if there was also a tall one. Headstone 5. Why Luo instead of game engine like Godot or Unity? Just because when I was researching all the different engines and options that were out there, I tried them all, and I would encourage everyone to try them all as well. Because there's lots of good ones. And when I was trying them out, there were popular options like Unity or Unreal or Game Maker. And I was using Game Maker before that. And I do really like Game Maker especially, but when I used Lua and Love 2D, it really clicked with me. I don't have any more of an explanation for it than that, other than I like it a lot, and since I like it, I use it. Let's try a little one of these, and then a little one of these. Work on your custom map maker because you're lazy to watch tutorial how to adjust tiled. Do you recommend keep working on it, or are you using tiled? The pro of working on your own is that it will be perfectly suited to your level design process. The negative aspect is that if it doesn't come through, or no, the negative aspect is that you are reinventing the wheel. But I get that. Like, I'm reinventing the wheel with a lot of my libraries too. But if you're asking me what the right choice is to not reinvent the wheel and to get things up and running quickly, rather than fixating on like making everything perfect, making your level flow really customized. Because if you make a customized flow, that's great for a long-term project, but if you make this customized flow and then the game doesn't like pan out, or you decide to switch to a different project, I don't know, that's kind of a waste of time, unfortunately. So I try to, there's a balance there, of course. I'll do something like that, and then need one cracked into 2 pieces. Oh, that's a cool idea. Yeah, I mean, I definitely should add more ruined ones. I could see this as the next big game. Well, I sure hope so. That's very optimistic, though. I think that people will like it, and I think it'll turn out good. But I don't know. It's okay if it just has like a small, tight-knit people that like it. And also, by the way, if you're making your own game and people don't play your games, it's okay, because your next game is going to be better, and it's more likely that people will play your second game than your first game. So I'm keeping that in mind for mine as well. Is that like this is still my first like big commercial game. And if people aren't super into it, I will learn from that experience. So overall, it's okay. I'm gonna try something like this. No, we'll leave it like that. That's okay. The attempt is what counts. The attempt counts as long as you're learning from it. And that's why I always, like when we're talking about AI, I always urge people not to use AI, because you're not going to be learning as much from it. You're going to be using it to create stuff, to produce code. And that will get you to like a functional product faster. But if your goal is to learn, which it should be when you're starting out, I think that a lot of people are doing themselves a disservice by having the AI do the heavy lifting, is how I like to phrase it. Because I'm an AI user. I like using AI to help with some of my mundane tasks, but I am very cautious with it, though. Because when I use AI to do a task, I'm not learning anything from that. And I still learn a lot, by the way. Even though I consider myself experienced and like I know what I'm doing, I'm still learning a lot of things all the time. And if I gave up that whole process entirely, I would be stunted. And I don't want anyone to stunt themselves. Like it's too early in your guys's, including mine, it's too early in any of our careers to be just giving up on learning. I'm not done learning yet. So I use AI with caution because yeah, I don't want to stop learning. That's what it comes down to. Sorry, I'm kind of just like drawing random designs all over the place. Because this is how I do pixel art, is since I'm not much of a pixel artist, I'm not classically trained in any of this stuff, I don't really know what I'm doing. I just kind of draw until I find a design that looks right. And at the moment, I'm kind of struggling a little bit. Oh, Father, hi, welcome in. Me off Among Us again. Well, sure. Crazy, or you can't make a game and people will play it. You have to make multiple games to get a game good enough for people to want to play it. I think that you do have to make multiple games to get the skills necessary to create something that people want to play, especially if you're charging money for it. Like, people only spend money on things that they think are really, really worth it, and if it's your first game, it's really unlikely that it'll be worth it. Now, there's always going to be exceptions, because like Cuphead, I think that was their first game, but those guys had plenty of experience under their belts. It's not like they woke up and they just started working on a game and they learned all their skills along the way. Like, they were artists and animators, and they knew what they were doing, and musicians. They knew how to make things presentable and good, and they knew how to have a project and see it through to the end. That's the other thing, is that game development is a multifaceted project, and if you are not used to running projects or getting projects to the finish line, it's hard. It's really tough, and I don't want anyone to like get overwhelmed and just quit because the going gets tough. It's gonna get tough. There's no denying that. It took like 7 years to finish Cuphead? Wow, really? Well, then I'm on track to finish my game at the same rate then. Are Wolf and Pippa here? Wolf was here earlier. Yeah, Wolf's not here. Clearly. Am I excited for Silksong? Yes, I am very, very, very excited for Silksong. I'm going to be playing it the moment it comes out, and it's going to change my life. I'm not going to say that, but it's going to be really good, I hope. I think it's going to be good. They took their time with it, and they were talking in an interview at Gamescom about how, like, the reason it took so long is because they really wanted to make sure it was perfect. And they... Dang it, I made it look like an Among Us again. It's too suspicious. They said it took so long because they were having so much fun developing it. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome that, like, developers can just enjoy their own game and enjoy the process? And also, here's the big thing, is they weren't financially pressured to release it earlier. Think about that. Think about what would happen if the Silksong developers, Team Cherry, imagine if they had a publishing deal with, like, Xbox or whoever, and the publisher... Allfather, thank you! Have a good stream, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the donation. And also, I'm glad that the alert worked. I was able to hear it. What was I talking about? It wasn't anything too important. It was about publishers. Because if Silksong had to release within a certain date, then they would have had to scramble to finish it all, and it might have turned out to be a worse product in the end. So that's why the money aspect of game development is very important, and a lot of people would like to ignore that. Rightfully so, I understand. But if you don't have money, that means you can't make a game. And if you don't have money and you have to pay your bills, like, you're gonna feel pressure to release your game even when it's not done. And that's how games fail. That's like the #1 reason why games fail, isn't it? I'm trying to think of a design for how to, like, make this look like writing without it being too weird looking. This is the problem with pixel art, is I don't have enough pixels to work with. I can make it bigger. I don't think I want to make it bigger, though. How about I get rid of these? That looks alright. Can I move this up? Oh, that looks alright. The problem is that it kind of messes with the perspective. I think I need to leave it down, actually. Otherwise, the perspective looks wrong. For a few years, and finally I started developing our own game. We've been big inspiration for my content. Awesome, thank you. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, good luck with your projects. You probably just draw. Silk Song was meant to be DLC. Yeah, exactly. I remember that. I remember it used to be called like the Hornet DLC. I'm spending way too much time on this dumb headstone. It's not even important. Process for making videos is? My process for making videos is screwed up, because the way I would make videos before is I would stop development completely for a long time and focus exclusively on making videos. And that meant that the videos turned out pretty decent, but they took so long to make, and it wasn't really worth it. Well, I don't know. I shouldn't say that, because it is worth it. I'm glad that I was able to grow my audience in the way I did. But now, like, look, you guys see how long the game's taking. I wasn't doing myself any favors by spending all that time working on videos. I think that this is acceptable. We're gonna call this one okay for now. I'm not super happy with it, but it's okay. If you change the stream speed to double, you can nullify the delay that YouTube isn't showing. If that's true, I mean, I don't. That's crazy if true. I want to make YouTube vids too, but I already have a lot of things to do and I already can't focus on game dev. Well, yeah, that's the balance. Is that, and you have to remember that making videos is its own skill, its own hobby, its own skill set of things that you need to learn how to do. And game dev is like that too. So if you're still learning and figuring things out, it's okay to focus on one at a time. In fact, I really do recommend that. I made videos, or sorry, excuse me, I made games on my own for a long time without making videos, because I was just focusing on making games and having fun with that. And then at some point I'm like, yeah, I want to make videos about it, and then I started learning how to do that. But you're starting from scratch again. When you're making videos and you don't know how to make videos, it's the same as when you're making games but you don't know how to make games. It's frustrating and hard, but it's worth it, because that's how you get good at stuff. But to answer your question, I'm going to be like really rethinking how I make videos. A lot of it's going to be leveraged off of this live stream. I'm taking steps to make the recording process better so that I can make better content from it. This looks fine, but it's still a little under-textured compared to the other headstones. So let's add more to it. Dang it, it looks, again, it looks like a human. I don't want to do that. Whenever I draw dots like this, I can't help but see it as eyes. It's like now it looks like I put eyes on the headstone. Definitely don't want eyes. That's too scary. Or maybe I do want eyes because it is scary. Oh yeah, I'm missing the dark ones. There's a dark shade. Yeah, I don't have that on either of these. Okay, that's good. It's alright. It's still not great. That's better. I think that's actually kind of getting there. I think I need to make it symmetrical if I'm gonna do this. I think that's kind of as far as I can take it. I can do this, but then I'd have to make... Whoop. I think I'm kind of butchering it now. I think that if I try making this a little bit simpler... Here, I'm gonna actually get rid of this inner portion and redesign it in a second. Has YouTube account His YouTuber name. Is this game open source? Parts of it are, if you look up Legend of Lua, but no, the final game is not going to be open source. To make fan music of my game? Hey, sure, go for it. I love making music. I'm still in the process of making the music for my game better. It has a lot of work to go. I think that actually looks kind of cool. What can I do to this section down here? That looks alright. I'm not super happy with it, but it's okay. It looks a little messy. It looks a little messy. How can I fix this up a little bit? That looks better, I think. I'm gonna leave it like that. It's still pretty messy. I think I'm gonna leave it like this. Dude, yeah, what the heck? Why is the metadata is wrong? That's funny. I think I do remember that showing up before. Like the cross represents. Yeah, I think you're right. Looks like a screaming face. Oh, it does. Yeah, I see it. It looks like a screaming face, and then like this is his unibrow. So like we could do it like this, and or can we make him like a scary, angry face? I don't want it to be a face though. It looks too spooky. I guess it looks okay when it's spooky. Actually, let's make his unibrow white. Oh, I think that's what it was missing. What if I make give it cracks on the sides? Oh yeah, let's do that. That would look good. Well, first let's add some detail because there's a lot of gray space. I do need to add some kind of texture of some kind. I think I'm gonna make another color though because this is too dark. So that's this color and that's this color. So it's like right here. Give it some vines or leaves. So I have the grass along the bottom, but yeah, maybe some extra vines could be good. I think this is a good... Let's see how it looks right now, because I still think I over-designed it. Like, it looks overdone. But let's take a look at how it looks in game. Make the spots in the highlight rim darker. Let's see. Yeah, I can see the screaming face. It just looks like a screaming face. Like, I don't know if anyone else can see what that person was talking about. It definitely looks like a screaming face, so I want to change that. The size and the shading detail looks decent. It's just the face part. I think that the only thing I need to fix is the face part. So one, I'm noticing that the other ones don't have this dark rim. They could have a dark rim on the inside, but not on the outside. That looks closer, I guess. I think I might need to tone down the dark rim completely. I'm gonna get rid of the eyes, because I don't like that. I think that that's okay. If we do this... Why the graves, though? Because it's for a graveyard. I think that having it have a sharp edge, like, down there will help. Because it looked a little bit too curved, like a face would be. I can't do that. I could do this. I don't want to do that. I want to do this. I think I'm onto something here. Looks like a cyborg with his eye closed. Yeah, it looks like a smiling eyeborg. Eyeborg. Yeah, smiling eyeborg. Whoops! I broke it. Let's try that again. I don't think they should have little designs on them. Maybe just add squiggly lines that resemble text. I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing. The thing is, they can't be fully flat. That's a good call out. Let's go ahead and demonstrate what that person was saying, where let's see what it looks like without as much texture. Let's go for like a headstone 6, and this one we're going to make it more flat and less detailed, and then we'll go from there. Because I do think that this one's a bit overboard, but I don't think that we need to go too far in the opposite direction. So let's do a little one of these. Okay, and then the detail around the edges I think look pretty good, although... No, I'm gonna take this one over here. Nah, let's do that, and then in the middle, like that person was saying, let's just do text. It can be just like faded little text. I'm trying to... Is it just me, or is it like everything I draw just looks like eyes? Everything looks like pixel art eyeballs. And I'm trying not to make it look like eyeballs. Maybe mossy? Yeah, I'll try that. It still just looks like eyeballs. I'm so bad at this. Okay, so I mean, this is kind of... It's not good, but this is kind of what it would be like if we went for a more flat design, where it's just like the text-focused thing. I'm gonna make this bottom part bigger, maybe? No. But if we went with a smiley face on top, I think that there's a bit too many faces within these. But this is what a flat design would look more like, and... Well, we'll put this one side by side with Headstone 5. And then back in the level, here's Headstone 5. Let's see. Looks like the back of a tombstone. It says Headstone 6 doesn't exist. It should. I see it. It's right here. Headstone 6. Why does it say it doesn't exist? Sprites, props, Headstone 6.png does not exist. It doesn't. What happened? Unless somehow it got deleted. Headstone 6. Did I spell it wrong? Where is it? It says it's here. Why is it not saved? Oh, there it is. It is here. It is here. Oh, it's because I spelled it wrong. It's because I spelled headstone wrong. I'm a silly guy. Okay, so this is what it looks like at a baseline. So I definitely do like these ones on the left here, and I like the short one a lot too. This first tall one on the left I like more than the fully flat one. I guess the fully flat one doesn't look too bad either. I think that's somewhere in the middle. Like this is the one on the left is too much, the one on the right's too little. So I think I'm just gonna go back to work on Headstone 5 and make it not bad. Because, yeah, this is a little bit too much. And I think part of it is these really dark ones. So let's go down. And then I'll get rid of these. Like that. That looks fine. It's still very busy, I think. Here, how about I use these on the inside? And then also, I'll get rid of that. Let's see if that looks any better. I think it does look better, but it might not be enough. Earning its Souls-like category, I mean, I hope so. I think that's pretty good, but the straight lines are too distracting for me. What I think I want to do is add some breaks in it, like here. Because when it's fully unbroken, it feels like not right. I'm gonna... I'll leave this corner one, but the other ones I don't want. Okay, let's try that. Let's see if that looks any better. I think it looks fine. You know, maybe taking... I think I took too much off of that edge. I think it does need this at one at least. So maybe I can take out this one and this one instead. Or... would I want to do that? Maybe I could use one of these. Yeah, how about that? It'll be funny if you write Necrozone. That would be funny. Yeah, I would love to do that. I think that this is a pretty good spot. One last thing is I like how this side looks more, so I'm just going to do the exact same thing. I like that. Okay, so I think that how this looks is pretty good. I don't like this dark spot at the bottom I ended up not liking very much. Let's see how that looks. Perfectionist at work, basically, yeah. The little thing right in the middle is too light. I think you're right. Yeah, I guess the other ones don't have that. You're right, the other ones don't have that. It doesn't look right. I think that I could just use this color instead. That looks better, you're right. Or maybe I should use the darker one for this, so it's really visible. No. Nope, we're using that. I think that looks good. I think that actually all of these, I need to make that dark portion less dark. It's very distracting. It's too much. That's This is what it's gonna be. I know I keep saying that. I cooked? Well, thank you. Yeah, I think that we're gonna leave it as this, and I think that, in fact, this new one is my favorite one out of all of these. The crumbled one, I think, is my second favorite. I really like this one. What if when you redegrade the Necrozone skeleton to pop out? Yeah, I think that's a cool idea. Some kind of Easter egg like that would be really fun, but I would only do Easter eggs after, like, the game is in a really solid, near complete place. Because otherwise, it's not really worth the time to do stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to take this headstone, and I'm going to turn headstone, or I'm going to turn, yeah, headstone 6 into, like, a crumbled version. Yeah, crumbled for the forward one. Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to try. Okay, and then I'm going to do what I did with the other one, where I'm literally going to take out chunks. We're going to get chunky in this place. I'm not going to do that. We're going to... Because it can look sharp, but it can't be too sharp, otherwise it looks artificial. Okay, so let's see if this looks okay. It needs to be pointier. Also, I think more of it can be crumbled. So let's actually stretch all this down. I don't want to stretch it. We're not doing that. Okay, but now it's too straight. It needs to be, like, offset. And also it's too tall. Let's move it all down a little bit. This looks weird. That spike portion. That looks better. Where it's just like a more flat crumble. It didn't change the the song's wrong. Look, the song title's wrong. What song is it playing? Oh, that's weird. That's I don't think that's the right song. Maybe it is. Give it a big crack. JJK, hi, welcome in. Well, it looks like the beast broke some. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think that it just doesn't look cracked enough. Yeah, there does need to be a crack. But the thing is, when you add a crack, it like... I'll show you what I mean. Let's add like a big crack right here. And it's gonna be very... It's gonna actually be a sharp crack. Okay, that looks better. That looks good. This actually looks like it kind of fell apart. Would you be interested in creating a new enemy design with us? We'd love to hear your thoughts on the idea. I mean, it depends. Like, what do you mean for your own game? If you have specific questions for me, you can DM me at any time. I can provide some feedback. But no, I have enough help with like designing enemies for my own game. I have a lot of pixel artists that are helping me. But I appreciate the offer though. I think I'm gonna put this light bit. I think that this edge needs to be lit. And then this one needs to be lit. And then I can start adding the darker textures. I'm not talking as much as I really should. I should try and make one that kind of looks like a player character. Oh, like a headstone? That'd be funny. That's a cool Easter egg, too. Let's try using this color. Oh, I think that this looks good. I think that this looks like a pretty good one. You mean on the stream in A sprite? Oh yeah, yeah. Like if we did like a group, well, it's kind of like what we're doing right now, where I'm drawing an enemy and you guys are giving me feedback. I would totally do that, but in order to do that, I would need like a pretty clear sense of direction and what enemy I would want to make, and also the code at the moment is not in the best state to kind of demonstrate that. Gravestone will give you some lore. Yeah, definitely. I think this looks pretty good. It actually looks too short, where maybe I can make it taller. Yeah, this one's definitely too short. Let's make it taller. Yeah, I think that I can go all the way like that. Is that too much? I don't think that's too much. Imagine little cute digging things called grubs. I think that I'm gonna have something like that because I have all of the flying eye wasp enemies. Let me show those. We have the enemies, and we have these, the hornet soldier. And what I want to have is like a ground version, because there's the boss. There's the where is it? Mom is what I called it. It's probably gonna be called something else. But this boss goes underground, like you can see this digging portion, and then she comes back up. So I could definitely incorporate that idea into this boss. Why are we breaking? Why are we breaking the graves? I mean, you don't have to break the graves. It's just an option. Yeah, I think that this looks very, very nice. The crumbled one. It definitely looks like a crumbled gravestone. So that's good. I think that the six variants is pretty dang good. It killed you millions of times. Yeah, that was a hard one. That is a hard one. So now what I kind of want to do is add some skeletons into the mix, because although I don't know if I'm going to make these skeletons a decoration for this area, I do want there to be skeletons in certain areas for a certain mechanic that I have planned. Let's try a hammer animation. Yeah, at the moment I don't think I need to work on that. I'm going to be working on drawing a different variation of my skeleton, because I have mobs, and then I have this guy. So what I want to do is, this is what the skeleton enemy looks like when he's alive, but I want to add a version where he's like dead on the ground. Your favorite grave is sus. Yeah, I don't know if I did I leave the suspicious one still? I don't remember. With tattered cloaks. Oh, that's creepy. I like that idea. Like reference to the character. Is the lore largest in scale? So the truth is, when I started working on this game, I had a lot of ideas for what I wanted the story and the lore to be. And I still do. I still have lots of ideas. But the thing is, the game itself needs to be big enough to live up to that lore. Because if you have a bunch of lore in your game, it's just a bunch of text, or it's this context that's really cool and important, people only are going to care about it if the game itself is fun and good. And I realized that, where it's like, I had all this lore and these ideas for things I wanted to do in the game, but the game itself couldn't really support the story. The story was too ambitious, basically. And if you have an ambitious story that your game, like, your game itself can't live up to, it's not going to land. It's going to come off as cringy, so I'm trying to avoid that. So this is a version of the skeleton that's like dead on the floor, which maybe I can have his head actually completely against the ground like this. And then I'm obviously going to need to add like holes because this isn't. And then I'm gonna make his eyes like dark and spooky. I think I'm gonna desaturate everything too. He looks very bright. Edit, adjustments, hue saturation. I'm gonna make him more gray. And then we're gonna darken it a bit. That looks scary. Okay. Now his body is too tall. It doesn't need to be this big. Even this looks really weird. I wonder how I can draw the belly, or the body of the skeleton. Because I think the skull looks good. I was hearing noises. I couldn't tell if it was someone at my door or if it was the music. Oh, actually, I need to fix this. The shading on the skeleton's a little bit weird. The light source is coming from the right, when normally I have it coming from the other way. But that's okay. It can be like that. Yeah, that actually looks kind of... It looks kind of weird like that. Okay, I'm gonna move this right here. I can move all of this over by one. Okay, that looks alright. That kind of looks like a skeleton. I think I'm gonna try that. I'm actually a great pixel art. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And like, I do feel like I'm pretty decent. There are times where I can pull off good looking art, but at the end of the day though, I still have a lot to go. And you're right. I shouldn't say that I'm bad. I don't think I'm bad at pixel art. And I guess I don't really say that I'm bad, but I feel insecure compared to, you know, other people who spend all of their time doing this. And like, I don't mean that in a negative way either, where I feel very confident in like my coding skills, and I'm just comparing my confidence in art compared to that. My confidence in art compared to my coding confidence is like night and day. I'm way more confident with code, and I imagine artists are the same way, where if they spend all their time working on artwork, like they're gonna be a lot more confident working on art compared to code. I think I want to get the skull outline more visible, so I'm gonna move this over like that. There's just not very much substance to this. It's very... I guess it's not supposed to be. It's just supposed to be like a... Maybe... I feel very unconfident about my coding, way better about at the art side. I imagine that's very common, where people spend a lot of their time doing one major skill. Or like if you have a job, you're going to spend most of your time doing that one job. My job was coding, so naturally I got really good at coding. And although I think I'm pretty decent at art, I just haven't spent nearly as much time working on art compared to coding. I think I was going to try seeing if I could turn the skull on its side, but I don't think I can. I don't think I'm going to try that. I think I'm going to just leave it like that. What else could I do to this? Because there's just not very much. Whoop. I think that I'm just going to leave it like this for now. And I'm going to call this skeleton. And it's just going to be a prop. Skeleton. I have an idea. You could draw a straight wooden stick or log stuck in the ground with a skull hanging from it. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that right now because I like that idea. That's a really good one. That's a really good one because I could easily do it. Okay, then you said a wooden spear. I think that would look great. So wooden spears are going to have an outline. Probably just going to make it 1 pixel wide for the actual content. Lighter. Here's that. Should I make it like poke through? That's scary. Here, let's get the spear and have it poke all the way through. That's actually really gross. So look, we'll take this little piece. And then I can rotate this. That's kind of funny. The thing is, let me see. What could I do with this? What more could I do with this? Like, there's potential here. Add dried blood. There's not any blood in the game currently, so I don't know if I want to do that. I think that it looks a little bit... I think that I need to add more detail to it, like coming through, like breaking through like that. Yeah, like that. That actually looks like it's poking through. And then I can move it up a little bit. Up the pole. My color scheme's a little bit different from the actual spear. I kind of want to leave the spear decoration in there because it's a pretty identifying feature. I mean, that's cool and spooky. But I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna save this, but I don't know if I'm gonna put it in the game. I'm gonna call this skull. skull. Okay, so now let's add these to here. I'm gonna say sprites.props.skeleton and then sprites.props.skull. We're gonna check them both out. Like I was saying, I don't really think I'm gonna use the skull spear, even though that idea is really cool. I just need to do something more with it. So we'll put a skeleton. You know what's weird is that we all have a skeleton inside of us. Excalibur type beat. I love the soundtrack. Make the spear weapon change to this when you kill a skeleton. That's cool. For a fancy weapon introduction, that would be cool. I like this is where you get the spear from an actual spot like this. So that could work. It's a little morbid for this game, but it still could work. So then we'll put this. We'll put the skull right in the middle. Okay, all of these, I think the skeleton bodies look okay. Their proportions are all screwed up, but let's go ahead and add that. So in props, we're gonna add a new one for skeleton. Skeleton. Skeletons are. Should I draw the shadow? Yeah, I'm gonna draw the shadow directly onto this. And then I need to make sure I trim all that. That should fix most of the issues with the skeleton. Get rid of that. Static is not static. I need to add all these back later. I don't have the sound for it yet. But now that that's in there, I should be able to check out the skeleton. Skeleton bodies need variants. Yeah, they definitely do. I thought I turned it off. Oh, I forgot. I do need Shadow Sprite now. Okay, there's our skeleton boys. Okay, the skeleton bodies look fine. I would say that they are acceptable. Maybe no. Actually, you know what's wrong with them? I know I see what the problem is. The problem is that the skull has its black outline on the bottom still. When I should. Yeah, I should have thought about this earlier. I think I might actually need to kind of start fresh a little bit. Because I need to move this stuff out of the way so I can make room for this skull. Okay, there we go. So what I'm going to try and do is remove this one black strip. That's the only problem, is that black strip is there, and I didn't want it to be. Because now his face is gonna be dead on the ground. The Donkey Kong soundtrack, this soundtrack from this game is very good. I really like it. I think I added 8 songs from the soundtrack to my playlist. I really liked it. I think that what I just changed fixed all the problems that I was having. There's not much substance here, but I think it's okay. Okay, well, let's see how this looks. I doubt Helen exists in this world. You should put the DK wrap in. I actually skipped that one. I did not put that in. Just because if I put a song with... Oh, also, by the way, the skeletons look awesome. I love how these look. If I put in a song with lyrics, with words, I think that would be hard to stream over. Okay, so now... Oh, that looks pretty good. That looks okay. It's not perfect. In fact, when you move it around, the shadow looks kind of weird just because there's not much of a shadow. Maybe I can add more of a shadow. Would it look better like this? I don't know if it would. That's probably too much. I think that's going to be too much. In fact, I already know it's going to be too much. Let's try that. The skeletons look fantastic. Thank you. I think they look good too. I think they look better with the other way, so I'm going to move them back like that. Let's at least see how it looks with those filled. I'm nitpicking at this point. It's too square. I can't do that. So I think that for now the skeletons are gonna remain like this, and I think they look pretty good. Someone was saying that we need more skeleton variety, and I agree. The thing is, I don't think there's gonna be very many skeletons in one place because I want them to have a function. But for now, I think I'm just gonna leave it as the one. A dog that joins you and protects you. That's a cool idea. Yeah, people have requested things like pets. That's a big request. It's still a little weird with this. Maybe I can try that. I don't think that's gonna look good. I like that more. Yeah, so when he bakes shadows on like this, it looks a little bit weird just because he's so short. He's a 1 pixel tall on this edge, so it's hard for me to draw a shadow on that. A blue eye, I think. That's a cool idea. What if I did, like, I give him a Sans eye? Yeah, just, how about, yeah, we'll turn him into Sans, like that. What about some moss on the skellies? Yeah, I could make, I think I should try adding moss to some of the headstones, too. I think that would look good as well. But these particular skeletons are meant to be dead, so I'm going to leave their eyes looking like this. Adding minigame about cutting fruits and veggies. I like that. I'm adding a minigame where you throw a boomerang at balloons. Oh, the ads? Oh no. I'm sorry that you're getting ads. I don't really want that to happen. Now I can go ahead and trim this and save. The skeleton's gonna give you bad time. Yeah, exactly. Just like another skeleton I know. This is pretty good. I got a lot of sprites made. And I'm very happy with how some of these headstones turned out. You know, looking back, maybe I can go back to this one, the short one, and try to reduce some of the detail, because, like, these really dark spots, they look too strong. Because I didn't use that color in any of these, so I'm going to change that. Okay, so let's open up all of the old headstones. Over in sprites, props. Okay, so here's all of our different headstones, and I think what I want to do is I made a new color over here. I made this in between, and I think I want to start using it. That might be too much. I think that I actually need a new in-between. I think I'm just going to make this dark color less dark all around. And less saturated. It's way too saturated. So I'm just going to go through all of these and just blanket change all that so it's less... I can do even less than that. Yeah, that looks good. That looks better. Because it was just too strong before. Yeah, it blends a lot more nicely now. So let's go ahead and do that to all of these. And this should be the last one. Not that much different. What game engine do I use to make Moonshire? It's called Love 2D. What kind of theme in your soundtrack going, by the way? Zelda style track? A lot of my songs actually are more like synths and dance and fast-paced and stuff that like you can bob your head to. I like songs that I can like put on and I can listen to it, and that sometimes that doesn't really mesh with a fantasy style. Like this game is meant to be a fantasy game, so the idea of having like synth music sounds a bit odd, but I'm thinking of the Electric Boss or the Cloud area that's in the demo currently. That music is really intense and danceable, and like it's like synth electronic music, but it fits really well and I love it. So I think that that's sort of the vibe I'm going for. But it's still a work in progress. Like I'm still changing the music all the time. One thing is I think I can change these skeletons collisions a little bit, because yeah, they're too big. Let's make them a bit smaller. Whoop. Font. I'm trying to find ESG, rectangle, corner. Dang it. I guess I don't have that implemented. I'll just have to make the width and height less. I think I can just manually say p.width equals, and we'll make it like 6, and then p.height equals 4. And let's see how that looks. Would I consider Love2D game engine like Unity or purely code-based framework like Pygame? Well, Love2D is a lot like Pygame. They're both frameworks. So when you think of a framework like Love2D, it is a lot like Pygame, where it's not an engine that has things built in. Like this level editor, this isn't part of Love2D. This is a third-party level editor. And same with this sprite editor, this isn't built into the Love2D. This is all external. So it's the same idea as Pygame, where you would have to make all your assets and levels externally and then import them into your framework. Whereas an engine like Unity, it's all built in. It's a lot more convenient. Oh, okay. Let's make sure that the collisions are looking good. It looks like it's too small. Also, it looks like it's not from the center anymore. Why is that? Oh man, I really screwed up all of this. Why did this make it from the center now? This is annoying. Actually, it's probably because the sprite was offset too incorrectly. So let me put those back, and I think I just need to make them bigger, like 10 and 6, and then I can add an offset, manual offset for the sprite to make it fit in. Do I have a favorite thing to design? Mine is characters. I like designing characters too, but I like designing levels. I like design. I don't know. There's a lot of things I like designing. I would say not environments. I'm not a big fan of designing environments. Okay, so what we need to do here is it's too wide. I don't know. I didn't think I had to do this, but I guess I do. Off X. I guess you have to manually put in an off X value, but that's okay. I can do that real quick. Equals -4. Let's see how that looks. You still use X and A? Nothing wrong with using X and A. Well, using base X and A, like you could use monogame, I think is what you should use. Monogame is actually open source and supported. X and A still exists? Not really, it's not supported, but there's X and A forks like monogame that are supported. Not officially by Microsoft, but they're supported by the community. Can we cut trees in the game? Currently, yeah, you can cut trees in the game. Long story short, yes. Okay, this looks a lot better. That actually fits the size. It looks really nice, actually. Is there a specific color palette you use to make pixel art? Yeah, kind of. So in my pixel art editor, I have a default palette. So I found this default palette called Lua P. It's on low spec. Actually, I showed this before on stream, but I'm gonna go ahead and show it again. Low spec Lua P40. So there's this website called Low Spec, and if you go on this website, there's lots of just like free and reference images and palettes. So I found this palette called Lua P, and it has all these colors. And when I was designing my characters, I originally stuck with this palette completely. But over time, I realized that these colors are very gray and desaturated. So I changed them to, I call it Luapi Edit. It's just my own. It's these same colors up here. So all these colors up here that you see, they come from this color palette, Luapi, but these colors are edited to be more saturated and a bit more bright. So the color palette that I use for my game is an adapted version of this one. And there's hundreds, literally hundreds of palettes on this website that you can choose from. And I think they're a great starting point. But even now, as I work on sprites, I only use this as like a starting point, or to get me an idea of what colors that I can use to be safe. But I don't stick to these colors. These are like starting colors, but I always add new colors. Like when I was making these headstones, there was that point where like I wanted this color to be darker, so I just manually changed it. I eyeball a lot of my colors. I don't stick specifically to a color palette, even though you could. And if you stick to a color palette, you have more confidence that those colors will work together. But at the same time, you're limited to only these colors. And if you need something more specific, it's better to have an idea, like use your eyeballs to see what looks good. That's what I do. There's lots of rules with color theory, with what colors you can use and which ones you can't. But I don't really follow that. Instead, I just eyeball it. I just say, does this color look good? And if it does, I keep it. And if it doesn't look good, then I change it. Like this color here compared to these two, this is what I was working on before. This is a shade of purple while this is a shade of blue. I could actually change this to be a bit more purple so that it blends. And then also, it's still saturated where I could probably decrease it and then maybe even more. That's too much. Something like this. Like, that's not much of a change, but it's enough that it's less of a contrast. Like, I see this color, and it does seem like it's a bit too much contrast, where that looks better. It's less of a blue tone and more of a purple tone. And I'm not using a color palette to decide any of this stuff. It really is just, this is what I think looks good. Can you make the skeletons destructible? Hello, my love. Hi, welcome. Yeah, you can make the skeletons destructible. In fact, they are already destructible, but they're probably gonna look weird when I hit them. Oh, they just break. They just go away. So the way that you do this is you give it a rubble class. So I can give it a rubble class. What I'm gonna need to do though is I'll need to make a new rubble class called Bones, but I do not have a rubble class for Bones. But that's how I'm gonna implement it. Is I'll make a rubble class for Bones, and then when I hit it, it'll spawn bones rather than those shards. And it'll make a better sound, because right now it's making like a rock sound. Whether to use more or less contrasty color, it's never, there's no right answer. The only way that I know is just that when I look at it, I can tell. Before it looked like this, right? It looked like this before, and you can see the dark pixels in there. You can see them sticking out. And I was just thinking to myself, would it look better if they didn't stick out quite as much? So I'll do a before and after. If you look really, really closely, I'll zoom in even more. I'm changing it back and forth, that dark color. So this is what it looked like before. It was dark, and I just made it blend slightly more. And then the way I can tell it looks better is I just do a before and after. I look at this sprite, I look at how it looked before, and I just prefer how it looks now. And that's how I do sprites. 113 minutes have passed. Yeah, I'm about to be wrapping up soon in about 5 more minutes. What if you punch the skeleton into the water? I think right now, if you push the skeleton into the water... Well, let's see. I actually don't know. I think it sinks. So if the player goes in the water... Okay, and then if I push the skeleton into the water, I think it's going to sink. Okay, it did sink. It sunk, but it didn't make a splash or anything. It just like fell into the water and disappeared. Yeah, that's kind of busted. Oh, let's go ahead and add the features for this one too, while we're at it. No, all the props sink. Like, if I push this thing into the water too, it'll also sink, but it'll look better if I have a animation for it or a splash that happens, because right now it doesn't do that. It just disappears. So let's add that skull property. We'll say skull. And this one is going to be very small, actually, like 3 by 3. And then all of the offset is going to be p.off y equals. It's going to be like -10. No rebel class. I'm going to get rid of this one too. Is there going to be a shadow sprite? Yeah, it's going to be the same as the banner. It's not in here. You know what? I'm not going to give it a sprite. I'm going to draw it on. Just mainly because I don't think this is going to be a final one. I'm going to sprite, canvas size, one more, 28. And then I'll draw these in like that. Yeah, that looks better. That's better than having a separated one. So we're gonna get rid of the shadow sprite. Whoop, wrong one. Okay, I think that will work. Let's see how this lines up now. Do I usually use AI for coding? Just wonder. Yeah, I use AI for coding. I would say I always have Copilot on in the background, but I write all of my own code. I'll ask it for specific questions, but AI coding is something that you use to supplement your own coding skills. There's the discussion of AI comes up a lot, and I think that the problem is AI is very good. It's very good at coding, and it can make good code. But if you use it to make good code, you are not coding it yourself, and therefore you're not improving your own skills. And that's what the big problem is if people are not going to be improving their own skills if they're using AI to do it for them. Meaning that they'll be able to create things faster, but they're not improving their skills. So the output, like that's what I think the main problem is. But the sphere thing is looking better. Oh, what the heck? The off Y is way off. Yeah, I need to increase it even more. Let's do something like, this should be like -4, and then this needs to be like -20. How much health the boss has. I used to have a health bar, but I took it out. I don't think it fits this game's style. I need to move it up even more. Why don't I try making 3D games? I want to. Yeah, I definitely do want to make 3D games, but right now I'm focused on this game, and since this game is 2D, that's the only thing I care about. But after I'm done with Moonshire, I would like to make a 3D game. I think I'd be good at it. I think it'd be fun. Okay, that's really good. And so it is weird that I can like move it around. I could make it static. In fact, I'm going to. P.static equals true. Like that. And what that will mean is that I won't be able to push it anymore. I think I'd be good at 3D art as well. But I don't know. I don't have any experience with it, so I can't really jump to assumptions yet. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to try it. The reason I'm excited for it is because I think a lot of the skills that I picked up from game development will be useful there, too. Make the spear broken and old. I don't think I want to do that yet. I think that right now I'm going to keep it as is. But I think that that's a pretty good start. It's probably still breakable, though. Makes a glass shatter sound. That's really funny. Out of curiosity, how is Lua for 3D? I don't know. I've never used it for 3D. But I only use Lua for Love 2D, and that's it. And it works great for Love 2D. And I made like that voxel library for Love 2D. That was just like a one-off experiment thing. I wouldn't actually recommend using Love 2D for 3D games. I would recommend using a 3D engine to make a 3D game. You learn something new every day. Yeah, in general, yeah. Out of curiosity, how is... Oh, I just realized that was Rick. Hi, Rick. Welcome in. Thank you for chatting. As a 3D artist, I can comfortably say that you wouldn't be able to do censored. I see. Interesting. I am about to wrap up stream for the day, but I really do appreciate all you guys stopping in and chatting with me. Hey, it's been a while. Yeah, I'm glad to see you. It has been a while. But I am wrapping up stream for the day. I always end around 12 p.m. my time. So on that note, I'm going to be wrapping things up for the day. Thank you so much to everyone for being here. Thank you for helping me with all these sprites, for the skeleton sprites and all these different headstones stuff that we were working on. It was a good time. I'm glad that we were able to make some new things and actually make some progress. It was really, really good. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Wolf, Saba, Adele, John Paul User, Kemi, Butteriffy, Soda, Penguin, Adele, RMD. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everyone.